Ever since I insulted the way that Sharabutdin Magomedov looked a couple of days ago, he has taken over my right eye and is making me look like him. I'm cursed. These are my last minute detailed predictions for UFC 294. I'm going to go through every single fight on the card, starting with the early prelims, ending with the main event. Not just saying who I believe is going to win and how. I did that earlier this week. I'm trying to predict how every single minute of the fight is going to go, how it's going to end, what limb is going to be used for a KO blow, what submission will be achieved if there is going to be a submission, what the scorecards are going to read if it does go to a decision, and just how every single second of the fight is going to go. Let's start straight away with the early prelim opener of Sharabutdin Magomedov versus Bruno Silva. I'm going to go with Sharabutdin Magomedov getting this one done via second round TKO, I think is what I'm going to go with here. I'm going to get a little closer to the screen just to mess up the lighting a bit more. I'm going to go with Shadow Magomedov here. I reckon he gets this one done over Bruno Silva. I think he's going to get it done at late second round. I think in the first round, both guys are going to be landing good shots on each other. I think Sharabutdin Magomedov's going to be landing a lot more kicks on Bruno Silva, but maybe Bruno Silva's going to land a few like punches and shots on the chin of Sharabutdin Magomedov, and people are wondering, oh, hang on a second here. He's getting caught with some decent shots by Bruno Silva, but he is going to be landing the low kicks. He's going to be landing kicks to the body. There's going to be moments where they end up in the clinch, and he's kneeing the body of Bruno Silva in the clinch as Bruno Silva's trying to escape the clinch and get some space. Then, also in round one, I think Sharabutdin Magomedov's going to go for like a flying knee or something along those lines. Something pretty wild at one moment in the first minute of the first round. I think he's going to miss though. Round two, similar situation, but Bruno Silva's going to start slowing down. He's feeling some of the knees to the body, some of the kicks to the body. His hands are getting a little bit too sloppy. Shadow Magomedov's going to catch him with a punch, wobble him, hurt him. They're both going to go swinging. Bruno Silva's going to swing back and land some shots, but he's getting more and more tired. They're going to end up in the clinch. Shadow Magomedov knees him to the body over and over again, lands some combinations against the cage, and gets a second round TKO over Bruno Silva. We move on to another fight on the card, which is Victoria Dudakova versus Jinh Frey. I'm going to go with an incredibly boring decision win for Victoria Dudakova. I do believe that on the feet, Jinh Frey is actually going to give her some problems. I know she's a massive underdog and her record is absolutely awful, but I think on the feet it's going to be quite tit for tat. But I think there's going to be moments in this fight where Victoria Dudakova gets herself a takedown and rides out the end of these rounds on Jinh Frey in full guard, in half guard on top, landing little punches here and there, and just winning the fight overall based on the last few minutes of the round where she's going to get top position on her way to a 30-27 reasonably competitive fight. But again, based on the last 2 minutes of every round after some terrible striking, we're going to see her get a takedown, end up in half guard, land some total strikes, maybe get a dominant position, maybe at some point get the back in the later rounds as well. But I reckon it's going to be a decision win to her. We move on. Up the card, Nathaniel Wood versus Mohammad Naimov. I'm going to go with Nathaniel Wood by third round TKO here over Mohammad Naimov. But I think it's going to be an absolutely fun fight and a real good war-ish. Not a crazy war, not anything like Yuri versus Glover, but I think it's going to be a fun scrap, a Nathaniel Wood type scrap, which always seems to get a little bit more exciting than it should be for him. I reckon we're going to see Mohammad Naimov and Nathaniel Wood going at it in the first round. Wood chopping at his legs, going to be chucking a lot of low kicks in that first round. Naimov's going to try and time him with these low kicks with some punches, and he might land it, but Wood takes it and covers up his guard again, and Naimov starts swinging, and Wood moves out the way, and I think he's going to be the slicker and smoother operator in the first round, even though Mohammad Naimov's going to be throwing big shots that are going to be hitting his forearms, and some of them are going to hit him on the top of the head. I think Wood's going to be the one that's like digging clean shots to the body and landing good low kicks, and I think he's going to tally up the low kicks in round one, but I think at the end of round one, Naimov's going to catch him with a good shot and put him on his ass. I do think that. I think Wood's going to throw an inside low kick. As he does it, Naimov's going to time him with a right hand. Wood's going to fall off balance backwards, get knocked down officially, but it's as he threw the low kick. I don't think he's going to be rocked that bad. Spend the rest of the round on bottom position, and the round might go to Naimov, but his legs are going to be chewed up in that round. Round two, more problems. I think it's going to be more of a scrap. Both guys landing good shots. This time, Wood's going to wobble Naimov and start walking him down slowly, but Naimov's going to recover and show that he's still dangerous, but Wood is going to land some more low kicks again and stuff like that. Naimov might shoot a takedown and get it in round 2, but Wood's going to get back up to his feet. They're going to be in the clinch. He needs the body of Naimov. Naimov's pushing him up against a cage. Wood's kneeing the body and defending the takedown and turning it around and separating and punching in the clinch when he's got an over-under position. Separate. Low kicks. Naimov cracks him with a big punch again, but Wood takes it and calls it on, and they both start scrapping towards the end of round 2. I think on damage in round 2, Wood's going to start to get the better of Naimov, and towards the end of it, his leg kicks are going to start to show some kind of an effect on Naimov as well. Round 3, I think the leg kicks are going to pick up again. This time, they're starting to knock Naimov off his feet. He's trying to time that right hand like he did in the first round. But as he does it, he's going to get his lead leg taken away from him. And he's going to start falling and having to pick himself back up. And Wood's going to land as he gets back up and chop the leg as he gets back up as well. And Naimov's really starting to feel that low kick. He's trying to shoot takedowns, but they're not good because he ain't got his legs under him. Knees to the body from Wood. Shots to the body from Wood up against the cage. More low kicks. More shots to the body. He hurts Naimov to the body. Starts chopping at his legs as well, and Naimov just sort of covers up in the 3rd round by TKO. Nathaniel Wood gets it done. Late 3rd round TKO. We move on. Up the card, Mike Breeden versus Anshul Jubli. I'm going to go over an Anshul Jubli 1st round TKO over Mike Breeden. I think Mike Breeden's absolutely awful. Terrible, not good whatsoever, and the only reason he's even in the UFC is to rebuild people that they want to win, like Terrence McKinney and Anshul Jubli. Should be cut from the promotion, no doubt. I reckon they're going to be going at it on the feet, both guys landing decent shots, Jubli landing the bigger of the shots between the two of them, and then Jubli's going to get a takedown at some point, and that's where the difference is going to be seen. I think if he gets the takedown, he's going to pass over, get to a mounted position against the cage. Maybe Breeden scrambles up to his feet, but Jubli takes him back down again, ends up in mount again and starts TKOing him in the mount position. TKO for Anshul Jubli. Breeden's not improving his position. He gets cut from the UFC. He's 10-6 at 34 years of age. I get you're trying to build up Jubli, but there's got to be better ways of doing this. We move on to the prelims. Abu Azaitar versus Sedriques Dumas. I'm going to go over Sedriques Dumas getting a TKO over Abu Azaitar. I think both guys are going to be landing good shots on the feet, landing kicks, landing punches on each other. I don't think anyone's going to get a KO in the 1st round of that fight. I think they're both going to be landing good shots, trading back and forth. Dumas is maybe landing the quicker of the shots. He's got a bit of a speed advantage on the feet, but Abu Azaitar's tougher and he's gritting down and going to the body and clinching a little bit up against the cage and trying to knee to the body and stuff like that. We might have a groin shot or two. You know how Abu Azaitar and the Azaitar brothers are. They're going to be a bit dirty. Going to be some groin shots, stuff like that. I think in the 2nd round, we're going to see Abu Azaitar get caught with a big punch, wobble a little bit, start swinging back in the pocket. Sedriques Dumas sort of like waits for him to swing himself out a little bit, stays patient, steps back in, lands some more clean shots at range, and Abu Azaitar is going to sort of crumble against the cage in the 2nd round from being hit too much. And this time when he tries swinging back, Dumas is going to time himself a nice big punch to drop Abu Azaitar in the 2nd round. So I'm going to go Dumas, late 2nd round TKO up against the cage. We move on. Muhammad Yahya versus Trevor Peek. I'm going to go with Trevor Peek, late 2nd round. No. I'm going to go with Trevor Peek 1st round KO. I'm predicting absolute chaos in this fight, as all Trevor Peek fights have. Absolute chaos. Muhammad Yahya is going to be sort of doing all right on the feet with his tapping shots, but Peek's going to keep cracking him with like big overhands and big kicks and stuff like that and loading stuff up, and Yahya's not going to like the pressure of it. It's his debut. He's getting hit with big shots. He's going to start backing up when he gets hit. Maybe he gets wobbled in the 1st round at some point. Shoots takedowns, gets Peek down, but Peek Derek Lewis is his way back up, and Yahya sort of like trying to hold on to him as he gets back up, but Peek separates and starts bombing on him against the cage, landing good shots, but Yahya escapes, goes back to tit for tat on the feet. Peek cracks him again. Yahya tries to shoot a takedown. Peek stuffs it or gets back up to his feet, Derek Lewis style. More big shots from Trevor Peek. Yahya fails a takedown. Peek turns it around up against a cage and starts landing big shots. Standing hammer fist. Trevor Peek gets a KO at the end of round 1 on Muhammad Yahya. We move on. Up the card. Tim Elliott versus Muhammad Mokaev. I'm going with Muhammad Mokaev, by 29-28, very competitive decision. I don't see there being a TKO early in this fight. I don't see anyone getting submitted in this fight either. I reckon we're going to see a situation where Muhammad Mokaev is the slicker of the two of them in the early round one that is, and they're both going to be clinching against the cage. They're both going to be trying to work takedowns on each other. Maybe Mokaev's getting the better of the control time and he's doing a little bit more damage with the cleaner shots on the feet. But Elliott is going to be racking up like total strikes in the clinch. He's going to be punching. It's going to look a lot like Charles Johnson versus Muhammad Mokaev, if you know that guy with the weird patch at the back of his head. Muhammad Mokaev going to be doing the better grappling, landing the better shots at range on the feet. But again, Elliott's going to be working in the clinch. Kneeing to the body, punching to the body, punching to the head in the clinch as well. Hooking the gloves now and again. Round 2, similar situation, but a little bit less clear for Muhammad Mokaev. Then round 3, I think there's going to be another similar situation of him trying to push Elliott up against the cage, trying to work his grappling. But this time, Elliott's actually going to get the better of the total strikes. Not as many clean strikes are going to land for Mokaev on the feet. And Elliott's going to land the better of the two. And he's going to start doing good in the third round. And it's going to be a 29-28 Muhammad Mokaev based on the first 2 rounds, landing the better shots on the feet and holding Elliott up against the cage on an occasional takedown as well. Muhammad Mokaev gets this one done. We move on. Up the card, Said Nurmagomedov versus Muin Gafarov. I'm going to go with Said Nurmagomedov getting his signature guillotine on Muin Gafarov here is what I'm going to think happens. I reckon he gets it in round 1. I think they're both going to... No, round 2 is when I think he's going to get this guillotine. Round 1, both guys are going to be landing shots, but Said's going to be the faster of the two of them by far. Muin Gafarov's going to be swinging punches, but Said's going to land his spinning back kick to the body, moving around, landing good knees in the clinch if they ever do end up there as well, landing good kicks to the legs, good switch kick, good head kicks as well, partially land on Muin Gafarov, who kind of sort of ushers it on and wants to trade with Said, but Said's skirting around the outside and picking at him with more kicks, teeps to the body, front kick to the body, going to start bringing up question mark kicks that partially land as Gafarov blocks it. So round 1, Gafarov's going to get really beaten down to the body, I think, and he's going to be whiffing a lot with his big punches. In round 2, I think this is going to lead Muin Gafarov to try and push the pace on Said, get in his face, back him up against the cage, and start putting his head down and swinging. But I think Said's going to win this round as well, with more kicks to the legs, more spinning back kicks to the body, front kicks to the body, knees to the body in the clinch as well. I think eventually he's going to land a good knee to the body on Muin Gafarov in the clinch when his back is on the cage. When Said's back is on the cage, he's going to land a good knee to the body. Muin's going to try and shoot a flimsy takedown to try and stop being kneed in the body in the clinch. And as he does so, I think he's going to leave his neck open for that guillotine. Said's going to latch it up and get himself a second round submission. We move on. Up the card, Ikram Aliskerov versus Wale Alves. I'm going to go with Ikram Aliskerov. First round arm triangle on Wale Alves. I think he's going to escape a guillotine to get onto top position and then work his way into an arm triangle on Wale Alves here is what I'm going to go with. I'm ill or something. I don't know what's going on. But Wale Alves going to start really fast. Go out there, big kick to the body. Big kick here, massive kick there. Landing some decent shots on the arms and the body of Ikram Aliskerov. And Ikram's going to stay patient, move around really well, get his jab going, start landing some decent punches on the feet. Once Ikram Aliskerov gets a bit of success on the feet, he's going to notice that Wale Alves keeps throwing these big kicks. I think he's going to catch one of these kicks to the body and topple over Wale Alves. And then Wale's going to try and jump on a guillotine as he goes down. Failed guillotine is what I'm going to say at the end of round 1. And then Ikram Aliskerov's going to work his way round out of that guillotine over the guard of Wale Alves. He's going to have a massive size advantage there. And I think he's going to work his way into an arm triangle on Wale Alves and submit him in the first round. I think this is going to be an easy fight for Ikram. Little bit of danger from Wale, but one of those kicks is going to get caught. He's going to fail a guillotine and end up on bottom position with Ikram Aliskerov and then get submitted is what I'm going to go with. We move on. Up the card, I'm going to go with Johnny Walker with elbows to the side of the head on Magomed Ankalaev at the end of round 1. I think both guys are going to be very patient on the feet. I think Walker's going to open up with something crazy just to set the tone with like a jumping front kick to the face. Partially lands. Ankalaev is immediately switched on. Both guys are trying to go tit for tat on the feet. Walker's trying to attack his legs, and as he goes for the legs, now and again Ankalaev's going to sting him with a jab or sting him with a straight right hand, and Walker's going to have to sort of stop going to the legs as much. Then Walker's going to try and land some punches of his own. Ankalaev might get the better of him there as well. Both guys are going to be landing big shots on each other towards the midway point of round one. This time Walker's sort of throwing a few more like head kicks and trying to stick his jab out there, and he's sort of going jab for jab with Ankalaev, but his arms are way longer, so he's sort of stinging Ankalaev a little bit more. Maybe he starts to swell up the eye of Ankalaev. I think Ankalaev's going to shoot in. Walker's going to get the clinch, land an elbow. They sort of separate. Ankalaev's like, okay, I didn't really like that too much. Walker goes back to the low kicks. Ankalaev's not liking it too much. Shoots in for a takedown. Doesn't get it immediately. Walker ends up sort of defending it, and Ankalaev sort of in on a double leg, and Walker starts Travis Brown elbowing the side of the head of Ankalaev and sort of hurts him badly. Ankalaev dips to his knees. Walker kicks out his hips, scoots to the side, starts landing big shots of ground and pound, and the referee steps in. I think he's going to hurt him with elbows behind the ear as he's going for a single or double leg against a cage. That's my prediction. We move on. Up the card, Kamaru Usman versus Khamzat Chimaev. I'm going to go with Khamzat Chimaev. First round. Am I going to change my prediction? I'm going to go Khamzat Chimaev first round rear naked choke on Kamaru Usman. That's what I'm going to go with. Usman doesn't tap like a savage, but I think he's going to get choked out in the first round by Khamzat Chimaev. I think they're going to start this fight, and Chimaev's going to bolt right across the cage and chop low kicks on Usman, who's going to back up immediately like, whoa, here we go. I'm in a fight. It's been a week and a half's notice. Chimaev's going to start chopping the low kicks on Usman. Bang! Big low kick from Chimaev. Both guys land jabs at the same time on each other and reset in the middle, but Chimaev's backing up Usman now. Khamzat lands another big low kick on Usman. Now Usman's starting to lift up that lead leg, trying to defend that low kick. Chimaev shoots a takedown on Usman, gets round to his back from that takedown, drags him down up against the cage. Usman's immediately going to get back up, find his underhooks. Chimaev might land a knee to the body and a punch, and then they separate, and then Usman and him are back on the feet against each other. Usman's back is up against the cage though. Another low kick from Chimaev. Both guys land their jabs at the same time. Usman lands an overhand on Chimaev, but Chimaev takes it and sort of ushers him on, getting ready for like a big scrap up against the cage. Usman's going to shoot on Chimaev. Chimaev's going to fall off balance, immediately get the whizzer though, stand himself back up, and separate in the center of the cage after Usman lands like a knee and a punch to the body. They separate. Another big low kick from Chimaev. Usman's legs going a bit weird. They're both trading jabs again with big shots. They both trade jabs again. They both trade jabs again on each other, and Usman goes a little bit wobbly. Chimaev throws an overhand. Usman brings his arms up to defend. Chimaev shoots in for the takedown, drags down Usman, immediately gets into like a side control position and then gets his leg over Usman into mount as Usman tries to buck back up to his feet. Big shots from Chimaev on full mount. Big shots. Some elbows mixed in there as well. Usman's defending, trying to hold on. Gives up his back by turning over to try and improve position. And then Chimaev's going to slide in the rear naked choke. Choke out Usman, who's trying to fight the hands until the very end. And his eyes go limp. And his arms go limp, sorry. And he goes out cold in the first round. I'm going with Khamzat Chimaev getting it done. We move on. Up the card, Islam Makhachev versus Alexander Volkanovski. I'm going to go with Islam Makhachev by TKO, is what I'm going to go with here. Islam Makhachev TKO over Alexander Volkanovski. And I'm saying it's going to happen in the third round of this fight. I don't think Volk's going to have the same conditioning that he had for the first fight that they had against each other and that he has normally. I think Makhachev and him are going to scrap. It's going to land. They're both going to be a bit hesitant in the early round, though. Both guys landing some shots. Makhachev like drilling big kicks to the arms of Volk because he knows he's had that elbow surgery. So I think Makhachev's going to be throwing big body kicks, throwing big head kicks to try and pin Volk's arms to his face. So he has to defend. He can't just throw these shots. Volk sort of nodding at him, tapping with inside low kicks, jabbing to the body. Maybe both guys land some good shots on each other in the early part of the first round. Then I think Makhachev's going to shoot in on Volk in the clinch, get his double underhooks, land a knee to the body, and as Volk's like smiling and like, yeah, I'm going to defend this, Makhachev hits him with a trip. Volk sort of has to scoot back against the cage. Makhachev's riding his hips over to the cage, gets his arms around him, tries locking him down, but Volk's going to like stand back up, but Makhachev's still on his back position as they're stood up against the cage, kneeing the thigh of Volkanovski, punching the body, kneeing the body and separating, and Volk's like, yep, I got back up from that one. Feeling pretty confident. Both guys landing good shots on the feet again. Volk doing a little bit, not enough though with the big shots. And he's swinging some big shots on Makhachev and missing them. And Makhachev sort of covering up, kicking his arms, kicking his body. Both guys landing okay shots. Maybe they end clinching up against the cage with Makhachev kneeing his thigh. Round 2. Similar situation. Both guys going tit for tat, landing all right shots on each other. Makhachev lands a good low kick on Volk. Volk lands some good ones back on Makhachev. Makhachev stings Volk with like a question mark kick that Volk partially blocks, or like a head kick that Volk partially blocks, and he sort of stumbles back a bit, but he's ready to throw, and he catches Makhachev trying to come in and be aggressive. They're both in the clinch again, end up clinching up with each other. Makhachev trips out Volk's leg again, but Volk reverses and gets back up to his feet and knees Makhachev to the body. Makhachev separates. Both guys on the feet again. Makhachev shoots a great takedown on Volk, gets his legs, takes him down with a double leg, tries to scale over the top of him, ends up in a good position on half guard with far side wrist control on Volk towards the end of round 2, landing some decent shots on Volk that sort of cut him open above the eye. The traditional Volkanovski cut that always opens up over his right eye. Big shots from Makhachev. The end of round 2 happens. Everyone's cheering at the end. Volk's beckoning on the crowd like, yeah, let's go. But you can see Volk is starting to slow down a little bit. And Makhachev did some good ground and pound at the end of round 2. Round 3. Volk's chewing at the leg, being a bit slick on the feet, landing some all right shots. He's crashing in a lot though. I think that's going to be the problem for Volkanovski here. He's crashing in quite a bit, stepping through, ducking his head, and landing some good 1-2s and some jabs to the body on Makhachev. Eventually, Makhachev's going to time him with a knee up the middle as he's backed up against the cage. Volkanovski's trying to shoot in and get close and get into the pocket with Makhachev. Makhachev times him with a tie clinch knee to the face. Volk gets wobbled. Tries to get back up, gets stung by Makhachev, wobbles back down to the ground again. More shots from Makhachev. Volkanovski's like shooting in on a single leg as Makhachev punches the side of his head. Situation as he's in on a single leg, and then the referee's going to call it because Volk's not improving his position and Makhachev's too strong over the top. Volk's going to complain about the stoppage. That's my reaction and prediction of the main event. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Toodle pip. See you later. Goodbye. Yeah.